Hi, I am Deborah R. Richardson of Deborah R. Richardson LLC, and I work with you to help you clean up your vendor data, clean up your vendor processes, and pay the right vendor. Now, this week's Vendor Master File tip of the week is: can this save you from having to file 1099 MISC or 1099 NEC corrections? And we all know that filing corrections with the IRS can convert into penalties. And I will put a link in the description if you don't have the most recent version of the IRS's penalty chart page bookmarked, but I have it here and you can see that each of these years it just goes up. And not only that, but it has additional penalties or higher penalties the later you file those corrections. And when we talk about corrections, the IRS will issue penalties if you fail to file correct information returns to them by the due date, and if you fail to file or to furnish correct payee statements to the vendor. Now, wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to file corrections? And there may be a cause here where you may not have to. So let's talk about Safe Harbor. Now, I did get this information from the 2023 general instructions for certain information returns, and that does include the 1099 series. And by the way, I'm just talking about the 1099 MISC and NEC because those are the ones that I deal with more often or most often. But you can definitely do additional research and due diligence because this can cover additional forms in the 1099 series. I think it's one or two that it doesn't cover. But let's talk about when no correction is required. The first one or first scenario is when the difference between the reported amount and the corrected amount is $100 or less than $100. And then the second scenario is when the difference between the reported tax withheld and the correct tax withheld is less than $25. So if any of these things or any of the corrected amounts fall within these differences that the IRS indicates you don't have to furnish or file corrections for, then you don't have to file a correction with them, and you also do not have to send a corrective statement to your vendor. Now, we all know that as soon as these 1099s go out, you start getting calls from vendors because they never think the amounts are correct. And so if you get a vendor that uh, insists that if there is a correction, that they do want to have a corrected 1099 MISC or 1099 NEC, then guess what? That means that not only must you send your vendor a corrected copy if they ask for one, but you also then have to turn around and file a correction with the IRS. And hopefully it is later on that time penalty chart so that you have less amounts to pay per statement. All right, so if you'd like more information on how to improve your vendor process, please go to my website at deborarrichardson.com for free tools and resources to avoid fraud, fines, and bad vendor data. Now, if you'd like over 115 annual hours of training for your vendor process team, and there are also now 3 free training classes. I keep forgetting to say that. But check out the vendor process training center at training.deborarrichardson.com. So good luck and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified next Tuesday for the next Vendor Master File tip of the week.